Thanks very much for that, and welcome everybody to Foresighting Forum 20. Let me just begin by thanking Craig Madden for that very generous welcome to Gadigal land for all of us. I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation on whose land we meet and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Many thanks, Chris, for the opportunity that I have in the program to share the big picture thinking behind Foresighting Forum 2020. We've built the Foresighting Forum, #TakeCharge20, thank you, Phil, around new research that we've commissioned into consumer expectations. And we'll spend quite a bit of time with you talking about that research. But what is a Foresighting Forum, and why doesn't ECA just have an annual conference? I thought I'd just spend a minute explaining our thinking in having what we call a Foresighting Forum. A Foresighting Forum is a coming together, but with a particular focus, and that is to work on a wicked problem, a problem in a contested space where the answers are not clear, and in a particular way, which is all of us in the room together, taking a really collaborative approach to our discussions with a future focus. So we're focusing on the challenges ahead of us, not our current preferred positions on things. A solution focus. We're looking to be constructive and to find consensus between each other, and an action focus. At the end of all of this, we want to focus on concerted action rather than long lists of shelfware. It's really about all together being better together for energy consumers. One of the reasons the Foresighting Forum that we've built around these principles has been successful is because of the terrific and ongoing support from our sponsors, Maddocks and KPMG. And I just want to say a very quick thank you from me and acknowledge Rob Gregory from Maddocks and Cassandra Hogan from KPMG. Not only do they get to support us, they also get to do work around here, and they'll be chairing panel sessions over the next couple of days. I also wanted to acknowledge members of the ECA board who are here today with us, Virginia Hickey, Chris Spangaro, Helen Garnett and Gavin Dufty. And they'll be with us for the whole time. If you get the opportunity to have a chat with our board members, please take that opportunity. They are very interested in the range of perspectives in this room. And of course, I wanted to thank all of you. The Foresighting Forum only works because of your commitment to participate. So thank you again for your time and interest investing in this forum. Early last year, it became clear to us that we needed new and very different research about Australian household and small business energy consumers. Many of you will be familiar with our Energy Consumer Sentiment Survey, which is a 6-monthly pulse check of households and businesses to gauge their experiences and thoughts about the current energy market. We've now got 4 years of quantitative data, which has helped build a rich picture of consumers' experiences in today's energy market. We think the ECSS has been instrumental in informing the sector's efforts to pivot to the consumer, efforts that we see through the Energy Charter and reflected in many other sector initiatives, as well as in the day-to-day decisions that organisations are making. But we thought the best next step towards building the truly consumer-focused energy sector of tomorrow was not more experience research, but new research into consumer expectations. Research that went beyond, for example, consumer satisfaction with today's energy services to engage people in a more open and exploratory conversation about future energy service expectations. To do this, we started with the way people are living their lives and running their businesses, the enduring priorities and values that shape what is important to them, what they focus on, and the way they think about the future. Research that could not only tell us what is missing in today's market, but give us clues about the practical things that the sector could do to improve outcomes and win the trust and confidence of consumers by focusing on expectations for better energy services. Research that we hoped might also help more immediately with the practical day-to-day challenges many of you face in your role in the energy sector now, as you work to meet consumers' expectations for what better might look like. With this in mind, we commissioned the Melbourne-based research organisation Forethought to undertake exploratory research using qualitative techniques. The qualitative research led by Dr. Jelena Dodic in the second half of 2019 included in-depth interviews and small group discussions with consumers and business owners across Australia, with groups of people reflecting a methodologically robust sample covering differences such as regional, metropolitan, age, ethnicity, gender, income, homeowners and renters, household decision makers, household influencers, different size and focus of businesses. We're presenting and discussing this consumer expectations research this morning, and we'll keep coming back to it over the next couple of days. We think that this is going to be a timely and hugely important discussion. But this is not research that presents the answers. So it may be uncomfortable territory, given the sector skill set in managing for certainty rather than uncertainty. This is direction of travel research. It's about what to do next, not about how to tweak now. Reflecting on this research is an experience in the shock of the new. It reveals the basis for a very different approach to engaging consumers in energy discussions. Essentially, we were asking consumers why energy mattered to them and what they thought a better energy future would look like through the lens of their lives and businesses. What are their life journeys? How does energy fit in? What are the opportunities? What are the pain points? How do attitudes and preferences change with our circumstances and responsibilities? What challenges are unique to some people? What are shared by all? As has been my experience with many consumers in many locations on many topics, the consumers we talked to for this research had extremely interesting and insightful things to tell us. And given the opportunity, they did not hold back. Given their views, there is, in my view, much positive opportunity for the energy sector in a new conversation with consumers about what matters to them and how the energy sector might better meet their expectations. There are 4 key and perhaps unsurprising messages in my view, but we now have them in the consumer's own words. The first one is that energy is important to people. The second one is that what interests people is their life priorities, not making the energy market work. The third one is people want us to innovate. In fact, it's the only way we're going to be able to meet these expectations. And lastly, people want to know that their interests are at the heart of every decision this sector makes, whether or not they have time to be in the room. We have strong signals now from both households and businesses about what better energy looks like, and there'll be more of that discussion with Dr. Dodic. We'll spend time this morning working in an interactive session to understand what the consumers are telling us about their expectations for better services. This focus on the future, of course, raises for us the question of how such a critical sector thinks about and manages its way into the future. And while I absolutely understand the incentives that drive us towards an incremental tweak of an essentially incumbent, and I mean current, position, I'm not sure that's going to be enough. And I suspect in 10, 20 or maybe 30 years' time, when we look back, we will see the beginning of a big pattern of profound change that we can't actually see now as we grapple with the present perturbations. Our shared task from this moment on is a trusted transition. So #TakeCharge20 is really going to push us. We'll be working our way through some big picture approaches that we think will help us head towards the answers for Australian households and businesses. We're going to start our 2 days by reflecting with Dr. Jeff Hardy on experience in another place, the UK, where the policy position, net zero emissions by 2050, has been legislated, and that position has been recently reinforced by the current Prime Minister. Our focus is not on the how and why of that decision, but on the how and what of the myriad tasks needed to deliver such a change in technology in a way that is trusted. Later today, we have a session to explore a very significant development in our own trust architecture, the Energy Charter, with a number of consumer advocates and CEOs who have been doing the heavy lifting involved in being the foundation participants. This is a unique gathering and one I'm really looking forward to. We've also asked a sector-level transition specialist, Professor Cameron Tonkinwise from the University of Technology, this university, to join the conversation later today to talk about technology and trust in effective transitions. His work will see energy as part of a social system, the very way that consumers see energy as part of their own social system. It proposes a way of thinking about innovation and how to effectively engage consumers. Importantly, it starts a very big conversation about energy companies as service companies, not asset management companies or risk management companies. Over a drink, last thing today, we're going to be pushed even further into the future by George Megalogenis. Many of you will be familiar with George. He's one of Australians' very best historians and recorders of our past. He's a chronicler of our present and a challenger of our future. George will be joining us to reveal what is really driving our economy, our society, and the politics we wrestle with. And he'll paint a scenario for us based on his evidence of what 2050 might look like. As Chris said, we'll be doing more work with consumer-led scenarios tomorrow. We start tomorrow in a conversation with Ben Burge from Telstra Belong and Justine Jarvinen from the University of New South Wales. They'll get us moving first thing with a conversation about new thinking based on a contemporary experience of consumers, technology and change. And a little warning, Ben has said that he will only accept questions in the Q&A that are challenging/borderline offensive. I'm letting you know early so that you can be alert after perhaps being slightly alarmed at this position. Then we get to long-term thinking in the energy sector. We've asked you already this morning to familiarise yourselves with the 4 very different scenarios for how consumers might be living their lives and thinking about energy services. These scenarios go way beyond an argument about solar, battery or EV take-up rates. They go beyond technology, to very different possibilities for solutions. And that is their value. They do not predict a preferred future, but they widen the list of possible responses. The process that we're using for these scenarios is based on the Oxford Said Business School's approach to teaching scenario planning. We've asked 4 of the biggest thinkers in the sector in Australia to discuss these scenarios in panel session with you tomorrow. But clarity about the future is only useful if we have the tools to navigate our way to better. So we also have a great panel tomorrow on change and trust, which will explore the idea of a new compact in energy that reflects a shared vision for how we manage this transition together. This thinking will help us meet the community's expectations, among them, importantly, that no one is left behind. This new energy compact thinking that consumer advocates, industry and policy folks have been working on together gives us a way of thinking about how to add expectations to the engineering and economics disciplines we are going to need in this trusted transition. So over the course of the next 2 days, we're going to canvass all the tools we need to manage this transition effectively: technology and trust, engineering, economics and expectations, and importantly, collaboration, how to be both constructive but focused on taking concerted action. And we're going to wrap Foresighting Forum 20 with a consumer-led panel discussion, and that's going to be moderated, chaired, we'll have to wait and see, by Energy Consumer Australia's incoming interim CEO, Lynn Gallagher. So let me finish my opening remarks by saying that I hope you enjoy 2 days of very different conversation, where I hope no one is here thinking that they have to defend their current position or oppose another position or explain a previous position. Rather, we're all here to explore together how to deliver the better energy services consumers are telling us they want. I'd like to go now, wave prop, to introduce Jeff Hardy. Jeff comes to us after much negotiation, I must say. Where are you, Jeff Hardy? There you are. You've got to take full responsibility for this. Jeff comes to us after much negotiation about carbon offsets related to international travel. We dealt with this by Chris Alexander in the end giving his personal undertaking to plant sufficient trees to deal with the embodied carbon in the jet fuel that it took to get Jeff here. And given that Chris's family property is in the Bega Valley, a region that was hit hard by the recent bushfires here in New South Wales, I suspect Chris's effort is going to be very localised. Dare I say, the events of, I think, what we used to call summer, which was a season of holiday and relaxing. I don't know that those words are associated with summer right now, but dare I say the events of summer have really brought into focus the things that really matter for all of us, including trees in the Bega Valley. We're delighted to have Jeff with us in the room. You can read his amazing bio. I am simply going to say we kick off our discussion about the future of the energy sector and the expectations of its consumers for better with one of the leading thinkers on these topics on the planet. Thank you.